Joining us now is Ojy Okpe. His story is trending around the world. Hello, Ojy.
How are you so happy this morning?
Well, I'm just happy to see you.
Oh, that's nice. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Great. Good morning, Adeswa.
Good morning,
I
Ojy
love your
Okpe.
animal print.
Thank you so much.
You look lovely.
Thank you, Ojy.
Good morning, Rufai. How are you?
Ojy, you're a fantastic phenomenon.
Rufai.
You have to explain what that means very soon. Okay. All right? All right. Well, good morning to you, viewers. We begin What's Trending with reactions from a recent comment made by a former Nigerian Minister of Petroleum Resources, Diezani Alison Madueke, in which she condemned internet fraudsters, better known as Yahoo Boys. While speaking at a virtual conference organized by the umbrella body of the Ojys Cultural Association, the ex-minister said things have degenerated to the extent that fraudsters are now respected in the society. Well, let's take a quick look at this video before we take some reactions.
Will be the wrong one. The ones that have swag, the Yahoo Boys, as my son would say. These, in short, are the role models that they are looking at. These are the ones who reinforce negative societal behaviors and values. This is a travesty of an unfolding tragedy for us. Why have I spent the time talking about fatherless homes and the impact that it has on our children? Well, the truth of the matter is that an irresponsible boy tends to become an irresponsible man.
Well, her statement has sparked a plethora of negative reactions on social media platforms, especially on Twitter. Users have been tackling the former minister, who also faces allegations of looting from the Nigerian government's coffers. The suspended chairman of the EFCC, Ibrahim Magu, had alleged that Diezani stole $2.5 billion from the federal government, an allegation which she has denied. Well, let's take some tweets real quick. A Dr. Dipo Awojide wrote, "Hush, mommy." Another fugitive criticized Yahoo Boys, the audacity, boldness, and temerity because there is no serious consequence for looting the Nigerian treasury. Another user, Fisayo Sombo, wrote, "If Diezani Alison Madueke really wants to pontificate about how the growing acceptance of Yahoo Boys is a travesty of an unfolding tragedy for us, I'd sincerely like her to fly into Nigeria after the airspace lockdown to say to us physically, 'Do it with your chest, madam.'" Well, Ahizo posted a picture of embattled EFCC boss Ibrahim Magu with Alison Madueke and alleged internet fraudster Hush Puppy with the caption, "I see Yahoo trending, and I think of this beautiful couple that was blessed with a hard-working son. The Bible says, honor thy father and mother." Adeswa.
Okay.
Okay, hush, mommy. Let's start with that word.
I mean, hush, mommy. How did they come up with that? But we're talking about this story yesterday and how, you know, the message. I think that we should look at the message and not the messenger.
Don't shoot the messenger, correct?
Yes. But sometimes the messenger becomes the message itself. And that, I think that's what the case here is, because Alison Madueke, the former Minister of Petroleum Resources, as we know, is facing those allegations of corruption, mismanagement of funds by the Nigerian government, which she denies. But, you know, there's the issue of the moral compass here. Should you even be making such messages? But the message she's giving, I think we should not throw that away, that, you know, our value system has been eroded. We cannot begin to use the likes of Hush Puppy as our role models for our young ones. No.
You're absolutely right with her, the fact that her message is what we should be looking at. To put it in context, she was actually addressing her community, the Ojys Association, right? And she was just, you know, trying to encourage them to teach their younger generation to, you know, make money. I heard you, Dr. Abati, yesterday when you talked about the story about how, you know, when we all grow up, people don't ask about your source of income anymore. And I think her message was very, very valid. But you cannot stop the outrage. Nigerians are upset because they believe or they really think that she is part of the people or part of the people that have put our country in this type of distress that it is.
Well, we attempted an extensive analysis of what the former Minister of Petroleum Resources said yesterday the webinar that was organized on the Ojy Nation Development Group and focusing on the mentoring of youth and the value system, the erosion of value system, and how any society at all, we need to have a set of values, normative values, that will guide human conduct for the health of society, for the achievement of the ideals of progress and stability and good living in society. Now, so that message is definitely important.
Yes.
And I agree with the two of you that we need to separate the message from the messenger. Very good point. Second point is that, look, I've always complained about trial by media, which many Nigerians engage in. And I guess, in a way, if I want to be charitable, that is accounted for by the fact that Nigerians don't trust their leaders. If you go into the public arena, you acquire automatically enemies, persons who will not even give you the benefit of the doubt and who will criticize you. And the principle in law in that regard is called the voluntae non fit injuria. That is, if you don't want the heat, don't go near the kitchen. So the moment you go to the public space, then every Nigerian, including people who cannot even buy data to sustain their Twitter account, you know, the moment they have access, they will just come there and abuse you. And you see a lot of, misdemeanor, misconduct from persons who do not even respect their own values. Now, the third point has to do with the fact that when people, label others, they should also realize that there are limits. If a person has not been convicted, if there are allegations, and to the best of my knowledge, Gezani Alice Madioke, no court of law in Nigeria has convicted her or labeled her. There are allegations against her. There may be an indictment, but until that process is concluded, allegations do not amount to a conviction because you don't know how it will end. A lot of people say the internet does not forget. Individuals, even when they have been indicted, if they don't get convicted at the end of the day, they are also entitled to defend their reputation. And people should realize that there is something called defamation in our laws. So we could get to a point where a lot of people will be charged for defamation. And they will say, oh, they were expressing their opinions as citizens. Yes, you can express your opinion, but you must have a solid basis for insulting or defaming people within the public arena. So these are the issues. Yeah. But of course, we go back to the original point about the message. The message she was putting across is very important. And she has the right to express opinion on either national or international issues. That you cannot take away from her. Even people who are convicted, who go into prison, they write books from prison. They express opinion. So I think we should focus on the message, which I think was an intelligent contribution.
Yes, I think it was an intelligent contribution too, but I don't know about, how Nigerians have been taking it so far. Rufai, what is your take on that?
Straight and sharp. Has the woman been convicted? No. Let's be careful if she's not been convicted.
All right. Very well said.
But secondly, I want to now focus on the message. Hillary Clinton wrote a book many years ago. It's called It Takes a Village. It's from an old African adage that says it takes a village to raise a child. We are not collectively as a village raising our children anymore. They are left alone because of the vicissitudes of life, the busy living we have today. We are not raising our children the way we should raise them anymore. That's why they're taking to vices like drug abuse, Yahoo, tramadol, and the like. And I think we need to introspect and come back that after we make all the money in the world, then we should ask ourselves a question. How far have we raised the next generation? I saw a movie yesterday, Netflix. It's called Nimbe. I think it's a movie every parent should see out there. Okay,
I'm a parent. I'll take your advice. I'll watch it. Thank you, Rufai. Well, let's take another story. Nigerians are outraged over the news that a 22-year-old musician in Kano State has been sentenced to death by hanging for blaspheming against the Prophet Muhammad. The musician Yahaya Sharif Aminu was found guilty of committing blasphemy for a song he circulated via WhatsApp in March. The judge who gave the verdict on Monday convicted the musician based on Section 382, subsection B of the Kano Penal Code of 2000. In March, protesters burnt down the singer's family home and led a procession to the Kano Hizbah Command's headquarters, demanding for his arrest. Let's take some Twitter responses to this news. A David Hudayin wrote, Boko Haram regularly executes musicians and artists for blasphemy in the villages they occupy, citing Sharia law. I'd like to know how this is not state-sanctioned terrorism. What is the difference between the Kano state government and Boko Haram? Please do tell. Well, a tweet from a user, ex-Muslims of Nigeria, reads, Nigerian government forgave 601 Boko Haram members, dressed them for graduation, and gave them 20,000 naira each. But Yahya Aminu Sharif has been sentenced to death by hanging because of blasphemy against Muhammad. Remember, he killed nobody. Sharia law should be abolished. Well, lawyer Tokpe Akinyode wrote, blasphemy laws derogate from citizens' fundamental human right to freedom of religion guaranteed by Section 38 of Nigeria's Constitution. The sentencing of a Kano musician to death by Sharia court of allegation of blasphemy is preposterous. It's antithetical to democratic tenets. Yes, a lot of Nigerians are outraged, and rightfully so. Like the last lawyer says, it is antithetical to the democratic process of Nigeria. I think, this is really a touching story, because I remember when I took the story in March, we talked about the fact that this boy's family's home was burned, and also his father disowned him as well, and now he's facing, death by hanging, which hopefully he will be able to appeal. But I think that the conversation around the fact that Sharia law is, with this death by hanging should be abolished is a good conversation to start having now.
Indeed, the Constitution provides that, provides for the Grand Qadi, Sharia law. I'd like Dr. Abati talk to that.
Yes.
But the Constitution also says that Nigeria is a secular state. So in the 21st century, when you hear that someone is sentenced to death by hanging, when he did not commit a crime against the state, but blasphemy, we are no longer letting the gods fight for themselves. We are now taking out actions for the gods. Islam, we are told, is a religion of peace. I have a lot of Muslim friends. The part that, got me really worried was the fact that they had to burn down his family house.
Yes.
I don't know what kind of rationale would be behind such actions. It's just disturbing. It's disturbing.
It is.
Well, the matter is as follows. I've always said on this program that we operate two legal systems.
Yes.
And that dual legal system, one set of laws for the North, another set of laws for Southern Nigeria, penal code, criminal code, the Sharia in 12 Muslim states in the North, and then, the criminal code and the secular legal system in the South. I hope that a day will come when Nigeria will be able to have a harmonized legal system. That's one point. The second point is that under the Constitution, every individual is entitled to the freedom of expression. Section 39 of the 1999 Constitution as amended. And so I find it really strange that under another category of laws operative in 12 states of northern Nigeria, an individual can be taken to task for expressing his opinion through the vehicle of music. However, in this particular case, the allegation against the issue against Yahya Aminu was that he was praising the Tanzania, Sheikh Ibrahim Niasse of Senegal, and he was praising him, and he elevated him above Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and that became the issue. He was attacked by the Hizbah, and then later he was taken to the Sharia court, and he has been convicted. Now, at that level, what we're dealing with is also sectarian politics. The Tijaniya, which was founded by Sheikh Tijani of Morocco, and then which has gained a lot of ground in West Africa, Guinea, Mali, Senegal, Nigeria, is a sect of the Sufi, of the Sufi group. And you know that even in Islam, there are different groups. You have the Sufi, you have the Shia, you have the Sunni. And because of that, you know, there's a lot of, you know, sectarian politics. So contextually, this is part of that. So there will be, and there are different practices, there are modifications to observances, even within the practice of Islam. But the good news is that, look, the gentleman can go on appeal. The Sharia system has a court of appeal. There's the Islamic court of appeal. And beyond that also, he can seek redress in the secular courts.
Yes, he can.
And I imagine that if he takes that option, then, of course, he may get redress, either at the Sharia court of appeal or in the secular courts of Nigeria. You know, so he still has that option. And to the best of our knowledge, only one person has ever been given the death sentence, and it was carried out under the Sharia law that was reintroduced in 1999. But I hope that, you know, at the end of the day, the basic principle should prevail, which is the supremacy of the Constitution of Nigeria and the right of individuals to express themselves. However, one caveat, you know, for you to go to the Sharia court, first you have to be a Muslim.
You have to be a Muslim.
And you must submit yourself
to
the jurisdiction of the court.
Yes.
But in this instance, did he submit himself, or he was just bundled to the Sharia court?
Well, whatever the circumstances may be, he's entitled to an appeal. You know, and that's a sacred principle for him to exhaust the judicial process. But I imagine that if he goes to the appeal level, you know, the original court, the court of first instance, may not have its way.
Right. Well, Rufai, what's your take on this story?
I mean, when I saw that story, it's great, Dr. Abba, to share that insight of it. I always know anytime you see blasphemy like that, there's always, to a large extent, a political slant to it. I mean, I just remember the story. I might not say it correctly, or maybe it was in Pakistan or Bangladesh. It was Salman Taseer or something. There was a political squabble. There was an allegation of blasphemy, and in this case, he was even killed. So to a large extent, if the musician was praising somebody from a sect in Islam, and he was elevating him more than Prophet Muhammad, peace be unto him, you obviously know that it might be a sectarian slant to it. So when I saw the story, I knew it was just more than you saying, okay, the Sharia court should penalize somebody for blasphemy. But I knew there was a sectarian slant to it. But most importantly, if he's got a right of appeal, he should use it, because we don't want anybody to die as a result of this. And let's not forget largely that Nigeria is a secular state. But I also want to pose this. Nigeria is a secular state, but we joined the Organization of Islamic Nations, isn't it?
Yes, we do.
Dr. Abati, can you explain that?
Yes, we did.
We did?
Yeah, but the Organization of Islamic States is not necessarily a religious body. You know, the focus is more on politics, on cooperation, on economic development.
Okay.
But I know it was very controversial at the time Nigeria opted to join that body.
Okay.
And I'm sure we attend the meetings regularly. I've been at one of those meetings with President Jonathan.
So the man should appeal, please. The man should
I hope he does. I hope he does. Well, like Dr. Abati said, only one person, you know, has been hung by this Sharia law system since it was reintroduced in 1999. So even if he doesn't appeal at this point, it will take a whole process. I hope that, you know.
And then I guess there should be a role for civil society in all of this. You'll recall that there was a woman, I don't immediately remember her name now, who was also sentenced to death. I think her name was Safia, you know, under the Sharia law. And the allegation then was infidelity.
Yes, I believe there's also one more person that,
And civil society rose and said, look, this is unacceptable.
Unacceptable,
this is patriarchy, this is an abuse of the Constitution. And at the end of the day, she was not killed.
Yes.
So there's a role for civil society here. And thank you for bringing the issue.
Yes.
Just quickly for correction, who I was talking about was Salman Taseer. He was the governor of Punjab, you know, in Pakistan. And what happened was he opposed blasphemy laws, and he was assassinated because of that. So that's why I was trying to make a point. There's always a political angle to it. It was Salman Taseer.
All right. Well, okay, great. Let's take our final story in Nigeria. On Monday, President Muhammadu Buhari hosted governors from the northeast over the attacks from the Boko Haram sect. The governors told the president that despite the reintegration and de-radicalization program of Boko Haram, the group was recruiting more members in the region. The president asked the army to do more in terms of security, adding that Nigerians had high expectations from the military. The president also spoke about the pandemic and how it has affected the finances of the country. He went on to describe COVID-19 as a fantastic phenomenon. Well, let's take a quick look.
So, Borno, I'm not surprised they made you the chairman because we are the one really in trouble. I assure you that the government is doing its best. Lack of resources has hit us very hard. COVID-19 is a phenomenon. It has no respect for color. You can't smell it. You can't see it. You can't hear it. America and us are the same. It's a fantastic phenomenon. I think we should all go back to God. I assure you, Northeast governors, especially the governor of Borno, that we go to bed and we wake up thinking about you and how to secure our country, because that is the fundamental responsibility of our government.
Well, Dr. Abati, a lot of users on social media want to know why he used the phrase "fantastic phenomenon" to describe COVID-19. But also, people are saying that he took the situation lightly, and he was making jokes when he referred to the Borno State governor, given the fact that even just last week, on Sunday, there were attacks that happened in the president's home state. There was an 11-year-old girl that was kidnapped, Khadija, if we have that picture of her. And a lot of women and girls were kidnapped in his home state just on Sunday. So a lot of people are just concerned about his demeanor in this conversation he had with governors on Monday.
Well, I don't agree that the president was making a joke out of the situation. Yeah. And I do not agree that he was lighthearted about it. I think the president, in terms of the things he said at that particular meeting, we should be taken comprehensively, because people like to just take one side, one paragraph out of a whole sequence, and then they misinterpret it. There's so much ignorance out there, so I don't agree with that. I think
you mean the lightheartedness, right?
Yeah,
okay.
He said a lot of other things that showed, that this is a serious problem that you have brought forward. We have tried our best, but we need to do a lot more. Yeah. That's the main gist of what the president said. Beyond that, I think when you said, why did he say it's a fantastic phenomenon? Now, you see that in that video that was shown, there were certain prefatory statements. He said, you can't feel it, you can't hear it, you can't smell it, you can't even see it. In other words, the president is saying, he says the disease doesn't even respect color. So, and he's making the basic point, legitimate point, that COVID-19 is mercurial, is capricious, is egalitarian, and that it is a major challenge for humanity. So to that extent, we still do not know enough about it. So of course, it's a fantastic phenomenon. It's something that is a major challenge to the whole of humanity. But beyond all of that, I think what is important, since the president has a very sharp awareness of the enormity of the problem with regard to COVID-19 and with regard to security in the Northeast, he should do more. The best that he says the government is doing is not good enough by the reckoning of Nigerians. So that best should become better.
And he did address that, and that's a very good point. Well, I guess you guys have talked about this. We'll take our final story. Let's head over to Mexico now, where people are outraged over the capture and castration of a black bear that was seen in a video approaching a woman and sniffing her hair while she took a selfie. Authorities say the bear was caught because it was considered to pose a risk to visitors of Chapnik Ecological Park, where the footage of the bear getting very close to the young woman went viral last month. Locals near the ecological park dubbed the animal the friendly bear and called it Chippy after the park where it lived. The bear was captured by officials from the Federal Environmental Protection Agency while having a snooze in the backyard of a house after its residents alerted authorities about their unexpected guest. I don't know if you guys saw this video.
I saw the video.
I was so terrible. But why did they have to castrate the poor bear?
That's one less bear to breed.
Yes, I mean, I think that they should, you know, talk to the visitors, the people that are coming in and feeding these bears, put their outrage on these people.
What I want to understand is the correlation. Does castrating make it any less dangerous?
Well, that's the question for Rufai, because they said that that's what it is. They don't want it to get into a fight with other bears when they release it back to, you know, to the forest, to the wild. Yes. Rufai, that's your question real quick. Does castration make it less dangerous?
The people that castrated bears should go and clean. Their minds are dirty. very, very dirty-minded.
Not fair. Not fair.
Anyway, you don't want to hear my comment. The ladies will come after me.
You say it quickly now, Dr. Batty. Quickly, just once.
We'll try not to come out.
No, I'll keep my comment to myself on this.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Batty.